Today we'll be learning how to solve multi-step inequalities. A multi-step inequality has a variable and a constant on both sides, which makes for a minimum of 2 steps. First, let's go over the rules for solving inequalities. Solving inequalities is a lot like solving equations, but there are some differences. In an inequality, you can add or subtract the same quantity from both sides, just like in an equation, without changing the truth of the statement. The quantity does not have to be known. For example, if you have x plus 3 is greater than 8, you can subtract 3 from both sides to say x is greater than 5. You can also multiply or divide both sides by the same positive number without changing the truth of the statement. If you have 2x is greater than 4, you can divide both sides with 2 to say that x is greater than 2. However, you cannot multiply by 0. You can multiply or divide with a negative number, but then you need to change the sign. A greater than sign becomes a less than sign, a less than sign becomes a greater than sign, a greater than or equal to sign becomes a less than or equal to sign, and a less than or equal to sign becomes a greater than or equal to sign. If you take the reciprocal of both sides, you also have to flip the sign. If you have negative x is greater than negative 3, then you can multiply or divide with negative 1 to get that x is less than 3. If you have 1 divided by x is greater than 4/3, then you can say x is less than 3/4 by taking the reciprocal of both sides. Now, let's go over an example. 7x minus 21 is greater than or equal to 2x plus 14. Subtracting 2x from both sides gives us 5x minus 21 is greater than or equal to 14. Then you add 21 to both sides to get 5x is greater than or equal to 35. The last step, dividing by 5, gives you that x is greater than or equal to 7. Lastly, let's go over the steps to graph an inequality. To graph an inequality, you graph a ray on a number line. If the sign is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, then you need to graph the endpoint as a closed circle. If it is greater than or less than, you graph it as an open circle. If the sign is less than or equal to, you point the arrow towards the left. If the sign is greater than or equal to, the arrow points towards the right. Graphing the inequality x is greater than or equal to 7, you place a closed circle at 7 and an arrow towards the positive side of the number line.